ready for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship 2024 and a race weekend to come in Zolder, Belgium. 14 teams from 6 countries, about 120 Goodyear tires for one weekend, and all trucks racing with 100% sustainable fuel, fights for points in total, and the Chrome class will determine all action of this exciting championship. Are you ready for our live stream starting on Saturday at 10 AM, followed by strong races all weekend long? Become a part of the One Truck family and see you soon. We are back at the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and it's time for race number 1 of this very sunny and lovely Saturday. And this is the first season that we're actually selling merchandise, as you can tell. I am already a big fan. I bought a couple of things, as you can see, and there are fans from all over the world, even France. Tu aimes Sasha Lenz? Oh, so she's a huge fan from Sasha Lenz. Très, comment se dit en français? J'ai oublié. Beautiful. Grand? Oh, okay. So we will see her later on with Sasha Lenz. It already found your fitting sweater. Perfect. So this is what we need. It's quite hot over here. So this sweater is for later on because we will have races all season long. I already had this one in Slovakia ring. So if you happen to come to one of the races, to Nürburgring, for instance, I'm also handing out one of the caps. So if you happen to end up at the merch store, at the very first person, and you're following my account, Lina van der Maas, and you're following the FIA ETRC account, and you say Lina van der Maas, you are allowed to pick a cap. So come by to Nürburgring or just have a look on the online store. But this is not only about selling merchandise, of course, this is all about racing over here. So I will take you outdoors because this is a huge fan village. All the brands that are also coming with racers. Of course, everyone needs sponsors because this is what you need in motorsport, as it's not the cheapest sports to do, to say so. Everyone is providing so much. We have Antonio Albacete with Warta. They have a huge fan base. Iveco, MAN, all the truck brands, they're handing out posters to the fans. You have meet and greets with the drivers. And it's really, really packed because people come here from the Netherlands. It's the Dutch Truck Grand Prix also happening from Germany, from France, of course, from Belgium. Where do you come from?
From Belgium.
From Belgium, mooi. And how are you van truck racing? Uit je Nederlands? Vlaams? Frans. Oh, alors. J'oublie tout, alors. Yes, merci beaucoup. I learned French at school, but obviously every time it comes to speaking, I am running out of all my words. I'm very good in understanding still, but that's it. But if people are not talking to me, it's hard to make a conversation. So let's take this young man over here. Hello, where do you come from? Vous êtes d'où?
Belgium.
Belgium. Et tu aimes le truc? Oui? Ou les voitures rapides?
Voiture.
Electric. Oh, so he's here for electrified cars, which are not happening on the racetrack. We just had a very long and very loud car race happening. We have the truck championship, also still the Dutch truck championship still happening. And of course, we have our HVO run diesel trucks that are very sustainable. They have no black smoke at all. So that's a very green race series, the first green one. That is actually running on a racetrack. So yeah, you would not expect that on truck racing, but they're very fortunate. And okay, last one, and then I'm finally handing over to Jess. Look, there's another small fan. Also, the girls are in the house over here. It's not only the boys who love racing. Hello, where do you come from?
Belgium.
Belgium. And you're a huge fan of racing?
Yes.
And it's the future generation.
Maybe.
Who is your favorite? May I see? This is who you love? See? You can never start early enough to tell your kids that racing is cool. So you're doing a very good job with your kid. What's your name?
Olivia.
Hoe heet je?
Olivia.
Olivia. Oké, dan nog een heel fijne dag gewenst. Doei. Yeah, that's it for down here. Maybe I will have some French fries and Chaz. It's time for you, our commentator. We also have Joachim Eberts for the Germans and Francis Ciprian for the Spanish audience. See you in a second.
Thank you very much, Lena. Fantastic engagement with the fans. Good to get amongst it. Some great exposure there for my good friend Adam Bint, who is one of the drivers from the British Championship that's racing here this weekend in the Dutch Truck Racing Championship as well. The Bint family has been in truck racing for a long time, and they are lovely, lovely people. But yes, hello everybody. Chaz Draycott here once again for the third race of the weekend in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship from Zolder, one of my favourite circuits on the calendar. Really looking forward to getting things underway in the sunshine today. Very different conditions to what we had yesterday afternoon, where it was very gloomy, very cloudy. Still a little bit windy though, as you can see by the way that our beautiful flags are moving around here. It is certainly a track where you never know what conditions you're going to get met with when you head here. But it's been a great day of action so far, with qualifying happening just earlier on this afternoon. Well, this morning actually. It's gone by very, very quickly already as today, as you can tell. We have our pace truck and official truck making their way to the grid. No, that footage is not reversed. The trucks themselves are in reverse, heading back up there. They basically would have to do an entire lap of the circuit to get back round there, and would have to go behind our race trucks, and obviously it would slow proceedings. We are sharing the circuit with two other championships this weekend, the Dutch Truck Racing Championship and the Belcar Endurance Championship as well, which is Belgium's own sort of endurance series. That was the touring cars and GT cars that we could see in the paddock earlier on today. There is the shot of the fans in the grandstand on the start-finish straight, all ready to enjoy some action. They're looking forward to getting the trucks back out on the circuit, and there they are indeed, making their way around just now. And you can hear a bit of music going on in the background as well, even. Everybody around the circuit enjoying the atmosphere. And that's the thing. As I mentioned it earlier, that Zolder is such a sort of close quarters racing circuit. There's so many bits of it where you can see quite a large chunk of the racetrack, and other parts where you can only see one or two corners. But it really is a great place to go racing, and such great access for the fans as well. There's a lot of areas where you can get really up close and personal with the vehicles themselves and be right by the edge of the circuit. And it's a beautiful circuit as well. A lot of greenery around this area here in Belgium. Plenty to look at. It's one of the most scenic tracks that we go to on the calendar. It's an interesting contrast from the likes of the Slovakia Ring, where we were just a few weeks ago. And just a few hours ago, we were in qualifying. Let's have a look at some highlights, shall we, of how this one all panned out, because it was an intriguing qualifying session for many, many reasons. We opened up the morning with some beautiful conditions, like I've said, compared to yesterday. It was almost like we were on a different planet in terms of how sunny it was this morning, and the heat arrived very quickly. And that's not just in form of the action either. Norbert Kish was fast straight out of the gates, as always, taking the first time at the top of qualifying one. But Jose Eduardo Rodriguez had a big engine issue and had to pull over into the pit lane to see whether they could get it fixed. More news on him in just a moment's time. Heinrich Clemens-Hecker and Luke Garrett were the ones that missed out to begin with, but then more reliability issues came the way of the likes of Louis Requenco and also Stefan Faas in qualifying 2, which meant neither of those guys got time on the board, but they were hoping to get back out there into the second session. Sasha Lenz was going well as well after having a torrid qualifying yesterday. He started, or would have started, down in 7th in yesterday's races, but he's doing much better today, taking his best qualifying performance of the season. But as you see there, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Stefan Faas, and then later on in the session, Louis Requenco, all having issues with somebody leaving an air filter at the side of the circuit down at turn 11. There was a bit of a recovery effort going on at the end of qualifying 2 and a bit of a delay before qualifying 3, understandably. And then we would have the final 6 trucks out on the circuit to set their lap times ready to go. It was all Titan drivers, and eventually it was Norbert Kish who would take pole position. He would be just in front of Sasha Lenz, with Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete making up the second row of the grid. It was a really close fought affair though, with only 10 thousandths of a second, or 100th of a second, between Sascha Lenz and Jochen Hahn at the very end. But it lines us up for an interesting race to begin the day. We'll give you more news on Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in a few minutes' time, because in just a few minutes we will be welcoming our TV audience from all around the world. The international TV broadcast will be starting. Our YouTube live stream usually starts just a few minutes beforehand, so if you bear with us, we will get over to that in just a minute's time. But as you see now, all the trucks making their way to the grid, starting to fill the grid up here in a sunny afternoon in the beautiful heartlands of Belgium. There is Steffi Helm making the arrival to the grid, just taking final preparations, getting strapped in and ready to go. Steffi will be starting this race from 5th on the grid, once again alongside Andre Kurzim. The talking point this season has been the fact that the both of them are on a very similar pace as this championship has got underway. They've had different fortunes in terms of their luck as well. It swings one way then the other very often in truck racing, whether it comes down to reliability or luck in the races, and down to contact as well, and how the trucks put up with damage. There was a great bit of slow-mo footage actually yesterday afternoon from contact between the two of them down at turn 1. Ended up going on the Instagram story. And we're going to quickly go down to Lena though, who's there on the ground for us.
And Sascha Lenz, who is in first row next to Norbert Kisch, and he had quite a wild day yesterday. It didn't go so well, and today it's the opposite. Congratulations so far.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, yesterday we have a bad day, and today my guys make a good job. We find a really good setup, and now we stand in the front.
What's the difference to yesterday? Did you have issues with the truck, or were you not fresh enough in your head, or was it just a combination of all?
Sometimes it's both.
Okay, so I hope to see you in the front. Stay there. He's a very fightful driver. He has so many fans around. Look at her. Like, you obviously can see that she really likes Sascha Lenz. She's on all the races. I will quickly ask her.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that. I really like that you always have the same style than Sascha's truck, and you're really everywhere on every race, right?
That's true. That's true. I take the pictures, of course, and I do the social media. And I always try to keep up and make everything nice and colored on the racetrack. So perfect.
And if you follow her, she has new classes on every race. I'm really boring next
racetrack, of course. So stay tuned.
Yes, go and have a look at her Instagram. Yeah, that's it for now down here. We are going to the World Fit pretty soon, so I'm handing back to Chess for now.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is Jane Rona-Bigler, one of my best friends from the paddock. Jane is an absolute superstar. She's known as Violet now, though, as she's really inherited the purple of Apollo Tyres to join in the partnership with supporting Sascha Lenz. She's always been a great supporter of Sascha, works on the team with him and does all of their social media and all of their imagery and all sorts. She's an absolute star. Her and her husband have a wonderful truck as well, actually, that they travel around Europe in with this fantastic graffiti design down the side of it. She's a real character and really embodies the whole one truck family mantra, and is a really good laugh everywhere she goes. That is the second row of the grid, which is Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. Jochen Hahn starting on the inside line from 3rd position, with Antonio on the outside. It'll be great to see the two of them doing battle once again. But there is the front row of the grid. Norbert Kisch and Sascha Lenz mimicking the front row of the very first race I ever commentated in this championship, which Sascha went on to win after a boost pipe failure for Norby back in 2021. More fans getting pictures on the grid though, and ready to enjoy the action that will be coming to us this afternoon. But this is the first of just 2 races that will be going on. Don't forget you can join us for the second one later on, but stay with us for this, because this first race is going to be an absolute corker. As Lena rightly mentioned though, it won't be long now until we welcome our international TV audience from all around the world, which will include me going quiet for just a few moments while we bring up some fancy graphics and obviously bring them in and welcome them to the live stream. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go quiet for a sec. I'll be back with you in just a few moments' time.
Welcome to all the fans from all over the world of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship here in Zolder, Belgium. And it's time for race number 1 of this very sunny Sunday, I'm very sorry. And we are about to get started. Sascha Lenz next to Norbert Kisch in the first row. It's been a very exciting qualifying this morning. It's quite hot. We already had engine issues, we had drag issues, we had people having to get out of the qualifying coming back. So let's see how this race is gonna go today. I have a feeling all the mechanics are like crossing their fingers right now that this is gonna be a smooth run. But of course we also have our commentator Chess Traycott in the house. So a warm welcome on this end.
Thank you, Lena. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2024 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Third race of the day, or third race of the weekend, I should say, here from Zolder, Belgium. My name is Chaz Draycott, and on the YouTube streams, on the German and Spanish commentary, we have Joachim Eberts and Fonzie Sebrian, if you want to listen in German or Spanish instead. We look here at the Don't Touch Racing machine of André Kursim. He's going to be starting this race from 6th on the grid today, and he'll be hoping to have another great battle with Steffi Halm, as they very often do. And yep, the trucks do have functioning horns as well. There's a great atmosphere here at Zolder for today. The sun is shining, and this is the circuit where we're going racing. It is one of the finest on the calendar. It's the narrowest on the calendar as well by some margin, and it's really tight and twisty with at least 3 very interesting chicanes. We've got the Kleiner chicane, the Villeneuve chicane, and the Jackie Ixbocht at the end of the lap. But that first sector, one of the toughest parts to get right time and time again. And the drivers really have to have their wits about them when it comes to heavy braking zones here at Zolder. They have to be so careful with the brakes. We saw actually yesterday Luke Garrett had a brake cooling failure, and unfortunately that was enough to lead him into retirement from the race. An interesting point to raise as well after qualifying, if you would have caught it earlier on, was that Jose Eduardo Rodriguez will not be with us for the rest of the day, unfortunately. They had an engine failure during qualifying, which is why you don't see him on the grid here. Norbert Kisch took pole position once again. That is another one for him. That's his 6th of the season. Sascha Lenz will start alongside him, but look at the gap on the right-hand side. Nothing really between himself and Jochen Hahn, who will line up 3rd. He's alongside Antonio Albacete on row 2. And then, as mentioned just a moment ago, Steffi Halm and André Kursim make up row 3. Lucas Hahn and Mark Taylor are the highest placed drivers in the Chrome class, with fellow Chrome drivers Louis Requenco and John Newell joining them inside the top 10. Next up will be Stefan Faas and then Luke Garrett. Stefan also having reliability issues during qualifying. Clemens Hecker will start in 13th place after just missing out on Q2, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, the championship leader in the Chrome class, as mentioned, will not take to the grid. Unfortunately, their spare engine still back with the workshop in Portugal, so they'll hopefully get that sorted for the Nürburgring. And we will go back down to the grid now to speak to Stefan Faas with Lena.
Yeah, he started out so strongly on the last races. He had a lot of points in the Chrome Championship, and now this weekend has gone a little weird for you so far. What's going on over there?
Ja, wir haben im Moment halt einige kleine Probleme. Auch mit der Bremse hatten wir jetzt leider im Qualifying einen Schaden. Vorne rechts ist uns die komplette Bremsscheibe auseinandergebrochen. Die war heute Morgen neu. Wir haben die im Warm-up abgefahren und ja, die ist jetzt gebrochen, und so sind wir auf dem Platz hier gelandet.
So he had quite a lot of issues with the truck at this race here in Zolder, Belgium. His braking disc broke this morning at qualifying, so he had to stop the truck. Now they of course replaced the whole brake. It still smells a little hot over here, so to say. You also have the cooling system. You can always see like the water smoke coming out. Is this also very important specifically in Belgium, because it really looks very tough to be on the racetrack over here?
Ja, hier in Belgien ist das die Schlüsselstelle, die Bremse zu kühlen, weil wir hier ständig am Beschleunigen und am voll runterbremsen sind. Deshalb haben wir hier, ich denke, alle haben die Probleme mit den Bremsscheiben. Da muss man halt ein gutes Maß finden, was man da an Wasser drauf gibt, und das Wasser muss auch reichen. Manchmal reicht das Wasser nicht.
So So they can decide themselves how they're cooling down the brake. You have a button there, right? You can show us in a second maybe. And sometimes they do not have enough water for the whole race. So sometimes they're running out of the water, which of course means that the brake is really heating up. And we already saw it yesterday on Luke Garrett, whose brake started burning and then he had to go out. So I really cross my fingers for you to be his lucky charm, because sometimes we have a talk and like afterwards, so we are like, let's put the spell on him this time. That this is all running very well. And before I leave you alone, where's the button that cools down the brakes?
Here it's the button, it's the water. I push it on and he come every time the water.
Okay, so only pushes it once and then the water is coming out. The water is filled. Mechanics, does he have enough water this time for the brakes? Thumbs up? All right, so let's go and good luck to you. And I see you in the front and I see you at the podium, all right? Good. Back to you, Chess.
Fantastic atmosphere down there at the Tank Pool 24 team. I would have loved it if the team would have sort of jokingly sort of gone, maybe he's got enough water, I'm not sure. There's John Newell, thumbs up from him. He's going to be starting this race from 10th on the grid. If he can stay up there, he gets an overall championship point for his troubles here today in Belgium. And as you see, it is mighty hot down there. Plenty of heat haze between ourselves and the trucks down there on the grid. A lot of the ETRA personnel on the grid ready to enjoy the action. Rolf Werner there having casting a watchful eye over all of the proceedings. Looking forward to a great day of racing here. And I'm certainly excited to see what the drivers have in store for us for race 3 of the weekend. There's always a great atmosphere ahead of race 1 because everyone's sort of excited to get started again. Almost like it's a brand new start, like nothing's happened before. It's very interesting. There is Heinrich Clemens Hecker, truck number 25. He's going to be starting this race from 13th on the grid this time. He'll be alongside Luke Garrett on the penultimate row of the grid. Actually, no, sorry, Clemens Hecker will be on the back row of the grid. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez would have been there with him. 3-minute board is shown. And you can see our Iveco S-Way glistening away. And so too is the Ford F-Max, the official truck of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. I said that I'd save the stats for you for today, and I'm happy to tell you that the Ford F-Max was designed and tested by 500 Ford engineers over a 5-year period. There was 11 countries involved and 4 continents where they tested the vehicle itself using over 200 prototype units and 5 million kilometres in total for the road testing. And that has given us the latest iteration of this gorgeous Ford F-Max. I say it all the time that I'd love to see a racing version of a Ford F-Max in the championship. It'd be really cool, and I think it'd look great as well. I love the front end of the F-Max. As they continue their inspection lap with May Fisher at the wheel into the chicane. We're going to throw down to Lena, who is back down on the grid for us, though.
With Clemens Hecker, he took a break at Slovakia Ring. He was like, I'm coming back strong in Zolder, Belgium, and we just quickly had a talk, and he's like, I really don't know what's going on over here. He feels like someone put a spell on him or a seat got chinks or whatever. Like something is wrong with the truck, so he's starting from the very end and he hopes to finish somewhere more in the front, which of course everyone does who's like in the world of racing. No one wants to be the last one, but someone has to like eat the drop, and in this case I really hope for him that this race is gonna run well and smoothly. And I have to show you, they always have the option in between taking out the window and putting a net in as it's very warm, so I think he will have enough air. Good luck to you, Clemens, and I really am looking forward to see this race. It's hot, the brakes, the tires have to do a good job. The Goodyear tires so far really did a good job keeping all the trucks on track. So let's see how the story goes for this Sunday afternoon.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you, Lena. Always interesting to see just what the atmosphere is like down there on the grid. And you can hear with all the engines and everything running, it's a mighty busy place to be. But now the drivers will start their engines and get prepared for the first race of the day. The 1-minute board shown not long ago. The Ford F-Max makes its way into the pit lane. Rolf Werner makes his way off the grid as well. Again, Rolf Werner, the only man that I've ever seen retire and at the same time not retire. He's a brilliant guy. Look forward to hopefully seeing him at the Nürburgring in 3 weeks' time. And at the mention of the Bint family earlier on in the British truck racing that I've mentioned, I've received a message from Gareth who's telling me to give Aaron a shout out. Looks like Aaron had a fantastic evening yesterday, celebrating with a couple of beers, to say the least. A couple of cans, you could say. So here we go then. With the pace truck making its way off the grid, it's going to be Norbert Kish and Sascha Lenz on the front row. And it's going to be down to Norby to determine the start. And you'll see a lot of the personnel in the pit lane sometimes. We have this great shot. I'm not sure if we'll have it this weekend, but you often get the race engineers all watching the start light gantry, and they will all sort of cup their microphones and get ready to shout go as soon as the lights go green, just in case the drivers further back cannot see them. And it's a really cool shot to see as they all have them in their ears. The Iveco S-Way leading us round is bio-LNG powered. It reduces up to 95% of the emissions from a standard internal combustion engine. And there is no difference as a driver that you will feel in terms of power, torque, and how that is delivered as well. It's a really wonderful vehicle, this S-Way. Great fun to have it as the pace truck, and it has been for a few years now. Here is Norbert Kish, and for a few years he's been the one at the front and is once again here at Zolder with Sascha Lenz alongside him on the front row. Sascha's best qualifying of the season. Jochen Hahn next up with Antonio Albacete on the second row. Two real titans of the championship there right together. Steffi Halm and Andre Kurzim next up. They're on the third row of the grid. Lucas Hahn and Mark Taylor will make up the fourth row of the grid as well, the highest two chrome drivers in this one. Louis Requenco next up in 9th place with John Newell alongside him. He completes the top 10. And then next up, Stefan Faas and Luke Garrett, both of them having unfortunate reliability issues at certain points. But they will hopefully be back strong for this one. Heinrich Clementeca will line up 13th, and unfortunately, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is done for the weekend. It's a real shame that for Jose Eduardo and the team. We wish them all the best, and of course, look forward to seeing them back again at the Nürburgring. But it's a good opportunity now for the rest of the teams to gain points on him and the squad. Stefan Faas is second in the championship, some 31 points back, with Mark Taylor a good 50 points behind almost. So there's some ground to be gained there. 30 points is the maximum for a race day in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. 20 points for the first race of the day if you win that, and in class as well, in the Chrome class, and then 10 points for the second race. You don't get a point for pole position in this series. It doesn't merit any extra points. It just literally sets your grid position, and that is that. And here we go then around the final couple of corners. They're running down the small back straight down towards the Jackie Ixbocht at the end of the lap. And the pace truck will now peel in. And Norbert Kish will lead the field round the final corner and get them all ready to go for what is going to be round 11 of the 2024 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. You can see all the trucks slightly lean over to their right-hand side a little bit, and then they hop off the line and get going. And Norbert Kish, it looks like, hasn't made as good a start as Sascha Lenz. Sascha's just poking his nose in front slightly as they get down towards turn one. Norby, with supreme confidence on the brakes, throws it up the inside. Sascha has to actually give it a jab of the brakes to get out of it. Runs a little bit wide on the exit of turn one. Jochen Hahn wants a piece of that as well. Andre Kurzim once again looking down the inside, trying to almost make it 3 wide. He did that yesterday and caused contact down at turn 2. And it looks like the whole field gets through safely this time. Sascha Lenz has held second position. Jochen Hahn trying to hold off everybody else for third. Steffi Halm in the middle of that as well. Antonio Albacete trying to make moves. John Newell goes down the inside of Louis Requenco. Looks like a good start also for Stefan Faas in the chrome category. But Norbert Kish had to work a little bit harder for that first corner this time round. Sascha really putting the pressure on. Andre Kursim just looking to the inside of Steffi Halm there for 5th position. Everybody going single file through the chicane except for John Newell and Stefan Faas. Stefan sends the penalty marker flying. John gives him all the room in the world on the exit. Tries to recover from there. Heinrich Clemens-Hecker looking to make a move on Louis Requenco as well, but Norbert Kiss leads them into the Villeneuve chicane for the first time. Then it's Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn, Antonio Albacete, Steffi Halm and Andre Kursim. Then the Chrome drivers, Mark Taylor in front of Lucas Hahn this time, and Stefan Faas already up to 3rd position. Lively start to the race, but still a very clean one, much like the 100% renewable HVO diesel that these trucks run on. Yes, Patrick's there with the graphic. I beat him to it on that occasion, you see. How do you say holy guacamole in German? Norbert Kish leads them down towards the chicane, though, for the first time. And this is an important braking zone for them down at the Jackie X-Bocht. Big, heavy braking zone, and the corner is cambered as well. You can see it there. There's almost like a bit of a bowl to it. It sort of leans towards where our camera is here. And the truck will gain this unholy amount of grip as you suddenly turn in, and then by the time you get to the second part of the chicane and it's off camber again, it just feels like all the grip has instantly gone away. It's such a strange part of the circuit as a racing driver. Driven many laps here in the simulator as well, and it is a very, very odd bit of the track. You feel like suddenly the setup is perfect as you turn left, and then as you turn right, you're just wondering, where on earth has all the grip gone, guys? What's happened here? Jochen Hahn all over the back of Sascha Lenz here for 2nd position. He's doing a good job at this very moment. Jochen hoping to try and take some points away from Sascha. Obviously big points in this first race of the day. The positions on the grid organised more in merit than they are for the second race. So they tend to organise that you get 20 points for a race win here, then 15 for second, 12 for third. And those 3 points between these 2 positions that we have on our screen now is equivalent to 3 entire positions on track in the second race and the 4th race of the weekend. And there's the big red MAN, Baloo as it's known, of Norbert Kish. One way then the other through the Villeneuve chicane. Looks absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? Again, it's down to, Norbert Kish said it to me once at the Hungaroring, the word inertia really rings true with truck racing. There is a lot of inertia. Ever since Norby said it to me, it's been my go-to word when I'm trying to talk about the momentum of these machines. Because they're so tall and because they're so just heavy in general, they really do lean into corners. You have to treat it almost like a motorbike, actually. A really interesting character I spoke to, John McGuinness, some of you may know, was racing at an event at Donington Park in truck racing, and he was telling me that it's strangely similar to racing a motorbike, because you have to think about where the weight is leaning and how it's sort of moving all of its weight onto one tyre rather than the other. And it's very true, really, because there's so much weight and it's so high up in these trucks. It's not spread across a really low platform. You have to think about it quite a lot. Lap 2 in the books then. Norbert Kish still leads. Sascha Lenz second. Then it's Jochen Hahn, Antonio Albacete and Steffi Halm completing the top 5. Then Andre Kursim. Then in terms of the Chrome drivers in their own category, we have Mark Taylor leading Lucas Hahn, Stefan Faas and John Newell. Then it's Louis Requenco, Heinrich Clemens-Hecker and Luke Garrett in the number 42 machine. Importantly as well, Lucas Hahn is in 8th position at the moment, which will give him pole position for race 2. We reverse the top 8 trucks on the grid, regardless of what class they're in. They get reversed on the grid for the second race of the day. Norbert Kish opening up a decent gap at the moment, though. It'll probably use nearly 2 seconds now, 1.93 seconds. Sascha may be driving in his mirrors a little bit, just keeping an eye on what Jochen Hahn is doing. Looks like Lucas Hahn wants to make a move on Mark Taylor as well for the lead of the Chrome class. There is the number 81 machine. Taylor's Truck Sport looking for their first win of the season in the Chrome class. He's so far had 4 podium results as Mark, a second and a third at the Slovakia ring. Day 2 at the Slovakia ring was very fruitful for them. He's actually all over the back of Andre Kursim at the moment. In qualifying 2 earlier on, he out-qualified Andre for a little bit. I think it was actually qualifying 1, sorry, this morning, that Mark was quicker than the Titan driver ahead. He's got a good opportunity here because Lucas Hahn is under pressure from Stefan Faas. Stefan in the number 24 machine has made a great recovery drive from further down in the pack and is all over the back of the Iveco ahead of him. Iveco versus Scania. Very much prominent battle here. It's 2 MANs at the front in the form of Norbert Kish, then Sascha Lenz, then it's another Iveco in the form of Jochen Hahn, Antonio Albacetti's MAN, then 2 more Ivecos, Steffi Halm and Andre Kurzim. As Norby crosses the line, we'll keep an eye on what the gap is this time round. It's now 2.4 seconds. So making great progress at the moment. Here's Norbert Kish. Thank you once again to my colleague Alice, who is down there in race control. She's updating us with the information that comes through from there. We've got Stefan Faas and Louis Requenco both on their first warnings for penalty markers, but look at this. There's a warning being sent here from Lucas Hahn to Mark Taylor. He can't get away and disappear up the road that easily, Sunshine. He's caught up with Mark in the final sector of that previous lap. There's a potential 3-way fight for second place as well. I could elaborate there as Stefan Faas looks down the inside of Lucas Hahn. Lots of battles to be looked at here. This is good stuff. There's a great chase going on from Jochen Hahn to Sascha Lenz. Then Andre Kurzim and Steffi Halm resuming their usual battle. Then we've got this scrap as well. Mark Taylor ahead of Lucas Hahn and Stefan Faas. All of them eager to get points back on Jose Eduardo Rodriguez for the weekend. There is a young drivers category as well for the likes of Lucas Hahn and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Drivers under a certain age entered in that. We will have a podium for them at the end of the weekend, and as long as Lucas finishes both of these races, he will take that crown actually for the weekend. It'll be great to see him get even more silverware in his first weekend back in the championship. His first outing of 2024 this is for Lucas. And look at the 3 drivers there for second, third and fourth. Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacetti right together. John Newell is starting to close in on Stefan Faas and Louis Requenco and Heinrich Clementecker as well. So it's very close between all the Chrome drivers at the moment, and the battle for second is certainly hotting up. Sascha has been caught up here by Jochen Hahn, and now he's going to have to defend hard. It was his best qualifying of the season for Sascha. He'll have to work for it to hold on to this result. And apparently, Stefan Faas, as you see there, it's just come through on my phone as well, is that Stefan Faas is going to get a 5-second penalty for leaving the circuit and gaining an advantage. It was when he overtook John Newell on the first lap, apparently. We saw him hop across the curb and hit the penalty marker. And that has warranted a 5-second penalty from the race stewards. That will not go down well for Stefan. They will not be pleased with that, as Jochen Hahn is now ahead of Sascha Lenz. He's taken second position away. And once again, we find ourselves with trucks 1, 2 and 3 in positions 1, 2 and 3 in this race. We've had that a few times so far this season, actually. And by a few, I mean twice. We've had it in qualifying a lot, though. And now Jochen's going to try to leave Sascha behind as he fights with Antonio Albacetti. These two have had some great scraps in the past, and I'm sure they're eager for another one. But Norbert Kish happy that all that battling is going on behind him, so that he can just focus on extending the gap at the front of the field, as he so often does. It really is his hunting ground here. It's brilliant. Brilliant to see it. As Mark Taylor has a bit more of a gap over Lucas Hahn and Stefan Faas than he did last time round. He'll be pleased with that. He'll be hoping that he can continue that run. Across the line goes Norby to complete lap 5 of this race. Jochen Hahn certainly breaking away there from Sascha Lenz. And Antonio Albacetti just behind him, the two MANs locked together. You can see the little shark fin, the Total Energies shark fin on the 5th wheel. Big thanks to Total Energies for becoming a partner of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship for 2024. It's great to have their support, and from Yoast as well, another partner to join us for this season onwards. You could see for a moment there, Stefan Faas was looking down the inside of Lucas Hahn into turn 2. Nothing came of it this time round. He's going to do what he can to maintain that pressure. He knows now that he's got a 5-second gap to make up for. It looks like Lucas has kicked up a lot of dust there on the exit of the Lucien Bianchi bocht. Only 3 drivers have won a race in the Chrome class so far this season, being Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Stefan Faas and Lucas Hahn. So this would be Mark's first win of the season if he holds on to this. And they now head into the chicane for the first time. Now, much like you'll see in other forms of truck racing or other championships all over, well, I was going to say Europe, but all over the world, there is often a sort of Division 1 and Division 2 battle between the two sort of categories based on different components that are used on the trucks. But all of our trucks have the same set of regulations. They're all the same level of performance, give or take, obviously, depending on what components they use. But there is no sort of set black and white, this truck is a Division 2 truck or this truck is a Division 1 truck. They're all at the same level performance-wise. It is more down to the driver and their capability and what their previous results are like, which depends on how they get categorised. Lovely shot there from our cameraman of them going down the start-finish straight. You can see the mirrored image showing just how close they are to the pit wall. A second warning on penalty markers for Stefan Faas as well, so he's really trying a bit too hard to get past Lucas Hahn at this stage. John Newell is defending from Louis Requenco in the background. And by defending, I mean he's not defending, he's just letting Louis have a look down the inside and showing that he's unfazed by it, as John is very, very rarely fazed by anything. As Stefan Faas is, I mean, I said he was throwing it at the scenery to try and keep up, but wow, he really is throwing dust everywhere with that. And the thing is as well here at Zolder, while it is very windy, that dust will barely settle by the time they come around next. You can see some of the dust in the background there is still kicked up from the previous lap. You almost get a bit of a mist around the circuit by the end of a race. We're on lap 7 out of 12 here. Here's a replay of Stefan. You can tell as he just goes up through the gears, that rear axle just kicks out slightly. He dips both those rear wheels in the gravel, keeps it absolutely pinned, as he will. And the back end slides out sideways. Another warning coming through for penalty markers. That's Louis Requenco. He's on his second warning now. I believe the penalty is 10 seconds if they get a third one. Don't think it's a drive-through penalty. And also Mark Taylor getting his second penalty marker warning as well. I think some of them are falling foul of it here. Look on the exit on the left-hand side where that curb is. There is usually a penalty marker there. It's been cleared away. It's been hit out of the way in the opening laps. So that marker is not there now, but the part in the ground where it normally would be can still get triggered if they run wide enough over it. So they will be keeping an eye on that, will the race officials, to make sure that even though the marker's not there, people don't take the mick with track limits. Sascha Lenz has held on to third position at the moment, but Jochen Hahn, after gaining second place, has broken away from him a little bit. It's about 1.5 seconds, the gap. Norbert Kiss now 5 seconds clear in the lead as well, opening up even more of an advantage. Andre Kurzim has dropped off the back of Steffi Halm a little bit too. There is the chrome battle. Driver there with the black and white flag. That'll be out to warn certain drivers of track limits. And apparently there's smoke noted from the 25 machine of Heinrich Clemens Hecker. Now they don't need any more reliability issues this weekend. They've had a few moments where the truck has let them down slightly. There was, I think it was race 1, was it, yesterday, where Heinrich Clemens Hecker had problems. There was a number of them out of the race on lap 1. Luke Garrett was out as well, and Sascha Lenz didn't even make the end of the formation lap before the fuel rail had failed. Over the top of the hill then, Sascha Lenz still ahead of Antonio Albacete. Steffi Halm will be hoping that these guys fight really hard to the end of the race, because then she'll have an opportunity to try and catch back up. There is the really interestingly shaped Scania of Heinrich Clemens Hecker. I love the look of that truck. Just stands out quite a bit. It's a very interesting shape. They've tried to do quite a bit with the aerodynamics of the bodywork. It's all about how the drivers and teams prefer to sort of guide the air around the body of the truck, and where they sort of divert it for cooling over performance. Obviously it doesn't make a humongous difference in these machines, the aerodynamic capabilities, but it makes a difference. You'll definitely notice if you're racing without the front bumper on compared to if you do. At the end of the day, they wouldn't They wouldn't modify them the way they do if it didn't make a difference. Now, black flag with an orange disc is a sort of mechanical warning flag, which is for Heinrich Clemens Hecker. Now, that has been for smoke. So we have a black smoke rule in the championship. All the trucks run on 100% renewable HVO diesel. It's all very green, it's all very clean. But at the same time, if there is black smoke noted from any of the observers around the circuit or any of the officials, then the truck can get pulled into the pit lane because it doesn't fit with the ethos of the championship of the clean racing image and the sustainability that they would like to portray. And they reserve the right to be able to tell drivers that. I'm not sure if Heinrich Clemens Hecker would have seen it that time round. He's got the windscreen wiper on as well. I'm not sure whether he's trying to hint that somebody in front of him is kicking out even more smoke or anything else. He seems to have the windscreen wiper on that Scania for some reason. It's definitely not raining. Now Norbert Kisch has 5.3 seconds worth of a lead at the moment over Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lenz. Sascha caught up with Jochen a little bit on that previous lap, but he was also caught up by Antonio Albacete as well. Great battle going on between the Chrome class drivers. Now that'll put Louis Requenco's race in jeopardy. It is a drive-through penalty for the penalty markers. I can't remember what it was that I was getting confused with 10-second penalties in that case. But a drive-through penalty for Louis Requenco for hitting the penalty markers 3 times and going outside of track limits. And that is a real shame for Louis, because he was in a good scrap with John Newell and Heinrich Clemens Hecker, but 2 of them will be coming into the pit lane. So John will be left to his own devices out there. It looked a moment ago like Lucas Hahn was trying to move down the inside of Mark Taylor. Didn't quite see whether he got the move away. No, he definitely didn't. Mark is still there in front. Stefan Faas has dropped off the back of them a little bit now. So I say that John Newell's going to be left to his own devices. He could potentially catch up to Stefan Faas here, especially if he doesn't have to focus on the battle that's going on behind him, because they will be of no threat to him now in the later stage of the race. Across the line go our Titan drivers, Steffi Halm and Andre Kursim. And there is the battle for the Chrome class lead. Mark Taylor still just in front of Lucas Hahn. The 2 of them having a good old scrap. MAN versus Iveco. You can see a little bit of bodywork damage on Lucas Hahn's truck. It's not quite active aero, but the bodywork flapping around on the front left there. And the bottom of the bumper is sort of tucked away. Now it looks like Sascha Lenz has got away from Antonio Albacete on this lap as well. Antonio not quite able to stay with him at this moment. Jochen deploys the 007 smokescreen before he goes back down the back straight towards the chicane. And into the Kleiner chicane they go. You can see that Lucas is just trying everything he can to have a look this way and that way, just to fill the mirrors of Mark Taylor, just to try and put him off slightly, to just make him feel the pressure. Lucas won the Chrome class race yesterday in race number 2. With Jose Eduardo Rodriguez not quite able to make it as far through the order as he would have wanted to try and take that crown away from Lucas. It's worth noting as well that Heinrich Clemens Hecker, while he has to come into the pit lane to see if they can do anything about the black smoke issue, he will be allowed back out on the circuit if they fix it. And apparently, this is not good news if you're a fan of Mark Taylor, apparently he is under investigation for a potential 3rd penalty marker infringement. That would be a drive-through penalty and would hand Lucas Hahn the class victory. So we'll keep our eye out for it. There's the black and orange flag going out for Heinrich Clemens. Yeah, Heinrich Clemens Hecker in the background. There is Sascha Lenz holding 3rd place at the moment. There's the lead battle in the Chrome class, almost side by side as they head down the start-finish straight. And it looks like Lucas is trying to put his nose down the inside a little bit there. He's starting to really pile the pressure on now. Mark is having to push, push, push. Into turn 2 they go. Stefan Faas is still there as well. Louis Requenco has come into the pit lane. You can see he's now over a minute behind. Heinrich Clemens Hecker still there. You will not be happy to see that black and orange flag go out though. That will not be a good feeling from the number 25. It's not been a reliability-based weekend for him. I'm sure a lot of you have your fingers crossed for Mark Taylor for his first class win of the season. I know Lucas Hahn won't. Lucas will happily inherit that one. It's not for lack of trying either. Lucas has been all over the back of him throughout this entire race. He's been putting a great fight onto the back of the number 81, and it continues as well. He's going to look down the inside into the chicane. No. Tucks right up behind him, though, through the left swoop. And I can tell you that in the group chat where I have the information come through, Alice is typing, and there is a drive-through penalty. It just flashed up on the screen there for a second. There is a drive-through penalty for Mark Taylor. The Chrome class leader has exceeded track limits too many times, and a penalty has come his way, and he will get a drive-through. That is devastating stuff for Mark. He was doing such a good job staying in front of Lucas Hahn, but I'm afraid that is, well, that's just how racing goes sometimes. If you push in, the track limits can catch people out, no matter how good they are. As we head on to the last lap of the race as well, I'm wondering when he's actually going to be able to serve that, you know. Although, has he come straight in? Yes, he would have been told over the radio straight away. Okay, straight into the pit lane he goes. Through the pit lane, Heinrich Clemens-Hecker on his way in as well. In the Scania, he'll come to a sudden stop. I'm not quite sure what they would have fixed in that time. Always makes me wonder why the garage need my car for 5 days whenever they fix anything. I'm not quite sure if there would have been anything done in that time there, as Lucas Hahn suddenly has bodywork flapping around even more on the front of that truck now. Not sure if he tried to have a go at Mark Taylor before he came in on that lap, but there's a close-up look at it. It's only fiberglass though, so it's nothing major. He won't even feel that from inside the truck. He won't know that it's doing that. Stefan Faas got very close to him there into the chicane, and he's actually going to lose time now to John Newell. He doesn't need to worry about getting past him on the circuit though, does John, because Stefan's got that 5-second penalty lingering over him. So Stefan will lose that position either way. But further up the road, at the very sharp end, it's going to be a similar story by the look of it, with this man entering the final corner. And Norbert Kirsch is going to cross the line and take win number 11 out of 11 this season. Continues the dominance, and Revace Racing have another trophy for the trophy cabinet. Jochen Hahn, great hard work to get through into second place. He finishes ahead of Sascha Lenz, who gets his first podium of the weekend. He'll be really chuffed with that one after a hard day yesterday. Steffi Halm is next up, getting 8 points for her championship. And then Andre Kurzim finishes in 6th position. Next up overall and taking the class win in the Chrome battle will be Lucas Hahn. He takes his 2nd Chrome win of the weekend. John Newell will get some points as well, finishing ahead of Stefan Faas after Stefan's podium place is deducted by 1. Mark Taylor will be next up to complete the top 10. And then Luke Garrett will finish next up. He will then be ahead of Heinrich Clemens-Hecker and Louis Requenco. And it's the 2nd win of the weekend for Lucas Hahn in the Chrome class. But the 3rd win of the weekend for that man, Norbert Kirsch. He takes the overall and Titan class victory ahead of Jochen Hahn, truck number 2, P2, and truck number 3, P3, with Sascha Lenz joining them on the podium. Like I said, after a very difficult day yesterday for Sascha, they'll be really pleased to have taken a podium out of that one. Stefan Faas working really hard, though, to get 3rd place in his class there. He'll be over the moon with that. John Newell with 2nd place, some big championship points for him. That's his first podium of the weekend. Now on the road, it finished like that. Lucas Hahn, Stefan Faas and John Newell. But with the 5-second penalty applied to Stefan Faas, it will mean that he drops behind John on the podium. Next up behind them, Mark Taylor was next up. He'll finish in 4th place. Then Luke Garrett in 5th position. Luke gets 8 championship points. and then 6 going the way of Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, and Louis Riquenco did finish the race as well. So everybody that took part in that one finished. No points going the way of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, though. That's a big change in the Chrome Class Championship. But Lucas Hahn, back with a vengeance here. He put a lot of hard yards in there to try and get past Mark. It's a shame that it was decided that way, but unfortunately, that's how motorsport goes sometimes. Let's have a look at the results then. And it was Norbert Kish that took the race victory after 12 laps, 4.3 seconds clear of Jochen Hahn, who was only just a second clear of Sascha Lenz. He and Antonio Albacete certainly kept the chase up all the way. Steffi Halm finished in 5th position, with Andre Kurzim in 6th place. Lucas Hahn 7th, winning the Chrome class. John Newell in 8th place overall, 2nd in Chrome, and Stefan Fast completing the podium. Mark Taylor finished 10th overall. He'll be gutted after that one, with Luke Garrett, Heinrich Clemens-Hecker and Louis Riquenco completing the field. Now, I'm being told that there's a potential investigation now on the number 22 machine, which was the man that won the Chrome class right there. Lucas Hahn wins the class with John Newell just behind him. Only 1.2 seconds between them as well. And let's not forget that on the road, there was a truck between them as well. That's how close it was. Stefan Fast was said truck, only 0.6 of a second back in the end, but that 5-second penalty certainly adds to it. Mark Taylor finished in 4th position after his drive-through penalty. Luke Garrett in 5th, Heinrich Clemens-Hecker 6th, and Louis Riquenco in 7th. No Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in that race, as their spare engine is still, unfortunately, in Portugal. But they will have time to at least get that fixed before the next race meeting at the Nürburgring, but it's a huge shame to lose them from this weekend, as Jose Eduardo has been a real star of the championship here in 2024, not only winning the Chrome class very often, but putting a fantastic fight to the Titan drivers at the very top. And there is the man at the very top, Norbert Kish, yet again taking a sensational victory with a big gap over the guys behind. And every single time you see him celebrate really well with the team, really happy, big smiles, big hugs for all of them. And it's great to see that there is such a positive atmosphere. You know, well, I mean, you wouldn't get bored of winning, would you? You wouldn't get bored of winning. And there is your class winner in the Chrome category, Lucas Hahn. Certainly back in style is Lucas. It's great to see it. A thumbs up from one of John's team there as well. There's Heinrich Clemens-Hecker coming in, Louis Riquenco as well. Bit of a tough race that for the Chrome class. A few penalties dished out. There's Sascha Lenz, 3rd place for him. And a hug with Stefan Hernans, one of the most legendary race truck builders you will ever meet. Stefan's a great guy. As whenever I try and pretend I know anything about race trucks and I ask Stefan about it, he corrects me. I like to think that I know a good bit about him, but wow, he's always got a good answer for it all. There's the bodywork damage to Lucas Hahn's truck. As you see, though, it's just fiberglass. It's nothing major. It hasn't really affected the bumper bar or anything underneath. There's nothing structurally wrong with that. It'll be very easy to fix it. Or replace it, as they often will. But the podium finishers stay up there. You can see the rest of the field has made its way down to the end of the pit lane, where they'll be guided back round into the paddock by the pace truck in just a moment's time. And then we'll try and get some reaction from the drivers and teams after that race and see what they think of the first race of the day, which was round 11 of the 2024 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And a well done from Lucas's dad Jochen and the family and the team. And we're going to head down into the pit lane and speak to Lena.
Norbert Kish, of course, who has won the 5,000th trophy, as it feels like. And you did such a good job defending yourself against Jochen Hahn, but in the end, you were sliding a lot.
Yeah, I make a small mistake. I have a blocking tire on the front, yeah, and Jochen can overtake me, so I make the mistake, so then I give him the place, and then it's fine, you know. So, but in the on the end of the race, I think I'm a little bit faster with him. I can close the gap, but yeah, it's what it is.
And that's what Norbert Kish said yesterday. Don't make any mistakes on this racetrack, but still, congratulations, you're getting a trophy. So here are some highlights from you from the first race of this lovely Sunday.
Thank you, Lena. Always good to hear from Sascha Lenz. And as you saw from Sascha there, he was quicker at the end of the race and he was able to maintain the gap in the final laps. But before we got underway, the sun was shining and everybody was in good spirits yet again. Always we are for the first race of the day. Thumbs up from the Tankpool 24 team and a hopeful vibe from Heinrich Clemens Hecker as well. Sascha Lenz made a really solid start. Norbert Kiss really had to work for it on that opening lap, but then once he was in the lead, he did his usual and started to streak away at the front of the field. There was great battles going on in the Chrome class as Mark Taylor led Lucas Hahn and Stefan Fass, who was on a really good resurgence through the order. Eventually, Jochen Hahn would get past Sascha Lenz for second position. Sascha would have to defend a little bit from Antonio Albacete, but he would not lose the position before the end of the race. Penalty markers were sent flying and track limits were certainly looked at quite a lot during that one, with the likes of Mark Taylor, Louis Requenco and even Heinrich Clemens Hecker getting penalties for the likes of Black Smoke as well. There's plenty of action in the pit lane as well as on the track. But Norbert Kiss took his 11th win of the season ahead of Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lenz, with Lucas Hahn winning the Chrome class. John Newell promoted to second after a penalty for Stefan Fass, but he would still hold his third place in the championship. And breathe. A very busy time in the championship today. There you can see the Dutch Truck Racing Championship about to take to the circuit. I think that was Erwin Klein-Nagelvoort and the legend that is Jock Borthwick on the front row. Jock, probably the only person I know that lives on this island here in the UK that really definitely needs a translator. He's got the thickest Scottish accent I've ever heard in my life. Sascha Lenz finishes this race in third place. He heads up to the podium. Jochen Hahn will join him in second. And then another trophy. Like Lena said, the 4,000th trophy for Norbert Kiss. But this is what I mean. Look at the appreciation, the happiness from Norbert Kiss. You know, he doesn't ever go into it and it's, you know, and he's ungrateful for it. You know, he doesn't ever look like, oh God, another win. You know, he's always so happy to be doing what he does. And it's such a positive vibe from him and the team. And at the end of the day, as I've often said, a lot of the competitors and teams that are chasing them down, they see it as a positive thing to go chasing them as well. And you know, they don't look at it as if to say, oh, you know, we need to slow him down. They say we need to speed up. They look at it as a yardstick, a really, really good red yardstick from Revage Racing. A trophy for Sascha Lenz, his first podium of the weekend. Jochen Hahn, more silverware for him. That's his third appearance on the podium this weekend. And then Norbert Kiss gets his race-winning trophy, and we'll have the Hungarian national anthem, or part of the Hungarian national anthem, for our race winner.
Anthem of Hungary. Okay, thank you all, congratulations.
And there you go, Norbert Kiss takes the race victory again, third win of the weekend here, 11th of the championship out of 11 races. And he is certainly on his way to dominating another season here, as Sascha and Jochen play some sort of games. They often do. They're both very funny blokes, great sense of humour. And some of the fans have earned themselves some hats, which is great to see. Those Goodyear caps are like gold dust, I tell you. Now they've changed the hats and the champagne will be sprayed from the podium. Everyone will get dancing away. It seems like these Belgian champagne bottles are a lot harder to open than a lot of the others that we see on the calendar. It's certainly worth it though. I think Sascha wants to soak Norway, I'm not sure. They're having a good laugh about it though, either way. Great atmosphere. Love the atmosphere on the podiums. It always gets me smiling, as I'm sure you can all tell. There is the championship standings then after 11 rounds this season, and it's Norbert Kiss who leads the way by 50 points now, 170 to the 120 of Jochen Hahn, 91 for Antonio Albacete. Sascha Lenz closes in after that race on 88. Then we have Steffi Halm and Andre Kurzim, 72 and 64 for them. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez having 62. With Stefan Fass next up, John Newell and Mark Taylor completing the top 10 drivers. Then it's Lucas Hahn, Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, Louis Requenco and Luke Garrett with a single point so far this season that he got at the Slovakia ring. Stefan Faas has made his way up to the podium. He finished that one on the road in second position, but the 5-second penalty knocked him down to third. John Newell congratulates him and makes his way up to the podium. And Lucas Hahn takes another victory in the Chrome class. Very well done to Lucas. Such a smiley, happy guy is Lucas, trying to follow in the footsteps of his father Jochen when it comes to having a legacy in truck racing. And now the trophies will be presented one at a time. First off for Stefan Faas for third position. Next up to John Newell for second. That's a firm handshake, Sunshine. I tell you, to be fair, with John's shoulders, I'm surprised he doesn't break people's arms when he handshakes them, because he's a very strong bloke. Same with Lucas Hahn as well. Nearly lobs the trophy into the stratosphere, but a very happy boy with his trophy. And now, the German national anthem.
Okay, dank u wel. Thank you. Still congratulations.
And that is your Chrome class podium for round 11 of the 2024 season. Lucas Hahn, John Newell and Stefan Faas. I don't think these guys have the changing of the caps to do. I don't think they have their own branded hats up there on the podium with them. But they will go straight to the champagne. Lucas opened a couple of these bottles yesterday, so he's got some decent experience with them. And sprays the media in the pen next to them and the fans as well. Same with John Newell. Good stuff. Lovely weather as well here at Belgium, or at Zolder at the moment. It's not something we always get used to at this part of the world, so I'm sure that we'll be grateful to keep that for the rest of the day. There's a lot of cloud in the background, but it should be okay. So, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez still leads the championship, but Stefan Faas gains some big points on him out of that one. Mark Taylor holds on to third place, with John Newell in fourth position. Then it's Louis Requenco in fifth place. Lucas Hahn now has 42 points to his name, ahead of Heinrich Clemens-Hecker on 40, Luke Garrett on 33, and Bradley Smith, who scored 16 at the first race meeting of the season at Misano. That's going to be it all from me, though. Chaz Draycott here in the commentary box for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. I'm going to hand back down to Lena now, and she's going to complete our broadcast for us, and I'll hopefully speak to you a little bit later on this afternoon.
And obviously happy Stefan Faas, and I am your lucky mascot, luckily.
Ja, war Actionrennen, aber ich bin nicht zufrieden.
Okay, so he had a lot of action, but he's not super satisfied. Tell us why.
Ja, die erste Schikane habe ich eine 5-Sekunden-Strafe bekommen und das war eigentlich jetzt der Ausschlag, warum dass ich nicht zufrieden bin, ja, weil ich bin vom 8. Platz weg.
Yeah, he got a punishment for hitting the pole at the first chicane, 5 seconds. This is why he is where he is. So he lost 8th place, which would have been top position for the reverse grid. So still you have a trophy and some more points to take home.
So ist's, ja.
All right, so I see you later on where you're starting out now.
Ja, 9.
Okay, number 9, so that's a lot to fight for, but still you will do your job. And I think also Mark Taylor might not be super happy after this race, so let's see how race number 4 of this weekend is gonna go in a couple of, I think in 1 hour, about 1 hour. So I see you in a bit.